Hey friends, it is Jenny Smith over here at Jenny Smith and Associates at Keller Williams. And if I look super excited today, it's for two reasons. And it's not the main reason of the video, because the main reason of the video is your market update. But before we get to the market update, I have to say, I am so thrilled that we just crossed over 250 Google reviews. Look, we are so thankful that y'all like us, you like working with us, and you're willing to leave us a review, because we all know people check out reviews. So thank y'all very much. And then the other thing is, I'm just excited about the time of year. I love fall, and while it's not here yet, we're headed there. But let's talk about the market. Now, the market is not as exciting. It's just not. Because if I really think about the market, we have been in purgatory. You know, that time, that holding place where you go before you go to heaven, maybe before you go the opposite way. Now, I'm using this as a joke, obviously, but the purgatory of the 6% interest rate, 6.5, 6.7, 6.8, 7, 6.5. That's just been the last 3 years, and that is really showing up in the data. And I feel like it's coming to a head, like we're just bumping into it. So I am hoping we're almost over it, because as of today, interest rates are down, the lowest they've been all year. And I think it's actually the lowest it's been in 10 months. So that's even better. All right, so what's happening in the Cartersville, Bartow County real estate market? So as of August, so we're looking at July's numbers. What we found was 267 active listings, up 19% from last year, and 477 active listings if you look at all of Bartow County. So all the way from Cartersville down to the part of Ackworth that is in Bartow County, and everything in between. So that's a 36% jump. So lots of houses on the market for sale compared to years past. Now, there's some good things about that. That gives people choices, because if you were buying a house in 2020, 2021, like a lot of times you had two houses, and if you didn't make a decision in 10 seconds, they were both gone. So there is some good sides to that, in that if you're a buyer, it gives you the ability to like look at a house, think about a house, make an offer, go through the due diligence, all that kind of stuff. So I like that part if for buyers. Now, what about the listing price? So the median listing price is steady. We're at that $394. That's where we've been for really probably a couple of years. Like, I didn't go back prior years, but the last year it was right around that same thing too. So that's nice and steady. That's why I called it purgatory. They're not going up, they're not going down, they're just steady. But what has gone down a little bit is the sales price. So the sales price is $339. So I kind of went and looked to see like how many listings have price drops. A lot of listings have price drops. A lot of our listings have price drops, because when we're doing the data, like when we're setting your listing price, we're having to forecast future in a negative way. Like a lot of times we like to forecast positive. We're seeing some growth. Houses are selling for more over time, and that's not what happened this year. So like the houses that sold in June aren't great comps for us as we move into August, because the market is just getting a little bit harder and harder, because competition keeps going up. Because remember, if you have 10 houses to pick from, the best house is going to get picked first. The second best house is going to get picked second, and it just keeps going. So what you want to do is get your price to match your condition, so you're the best house at that price point. And for a lot of sellers, it can be really hard to get that realistic about your house because you're really fond of your house and you've got this emotional attachment to it that a buyer's not going to have. They're going to walk into those 10 houses because that's the reality. There's that much inventory, and they are going to pick the best one. And you want to be the best one at the price. So we have seen lots of price reductions. And when we get that price reduction and we get it right, it's gone. Like, you're not, people tell you don't want to reduce your price, you don't want to change your price or whatever. But I believe that if we're not getting the showings and offer, then we've got to reduce the price or make the condition better. Like, those are your two choices. Now, sometimes we do need to wait because let's talk about days on market. The average days on market is up to 45 days, 36% increase from last year. And that 45 days, what that means is we can't expect your house to go under contract the first weekend if you're above the median sales price. Now, if you're right there at that median sales price, like we had a great house the other day that when we priced it, it did go under contract the first weekend, and we did get 100% of what we were asking for it. But what happened in this case is the house condition was fantastic. We priced it right where it needed to be. And so out of the 10, it was the best, and it got snapped up like that. So keep that in mind. Units sold are down 7% in Cartersville and 14% in Bartow. So that means it's just slow. I don't talk slow. I talk a little bit fast, but the market feels really slow. More supply, steady prices, but fewer sales is shifting towards buyers in our town. Now, if you're a seller, that can give you pause because you're like, well, I want it to be a seller's market. If you're a buyer, that should make you a little bit excited because you want it to be a buyer's market. Now, I really believe we're pretty balanced in that buyers are being realistic and sellers are willing to negotiate. So that's what we like to see, is a back and forth where the sellers are still hitting good numbers and the buyers are still getting a fair price. And that's the thing that can be hard, is that word fair price. Your condition has to match your price. Okay, so let's talk to current sellers. If you're selling right now in Cartersville with more listings, it is very important that you look at two things. You want to look at your curb appeal as we start heading into fall. You want to make sure that your light bulbs, y'all, your light bulbs. I know somebody doesn't believe me, but I promise you, I only get paid for telling you the truth. I'm not getting paid if I'm lying to you because I only get paid if your house sells and it's listed with me. So keep that in mind. Your light bulbs matter as we move into fall because the brighter a house is, the better it looks. And when you have different color of light bulbs or missing light bulbs, we don't even want to talk about that. Missing light bulbs, it is never a good look for your house. So make sure you got those light bulbs, make sure they match, all that kind of good stuff. So you want to control what you can control. And then hopefully you're working with us and we are doing all the marketing that we can, from reels to YouTube videos to ads, you name it. We are trying to get your house in front of as many people as we can because we know that helps. But you do want to kind of plan for a little bit longer days on market, in that, if we put your house up for sale today and let's just use a $500,000 house because that's above the median price of the sold homes in Cartersville and Bartow County, then that means there's less buyers that are able to afford it because that sales price that's selling the most is where we're seeing the most activity. So if you're above that, you're just going to have to take a deep, deep breath and be patient. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me too. All right, so let's talk about buyers. If you are a buyer right now, you need to be like dancing in my opinion, because the people who were buying 2 and 3 years ago had the same interest rate or higher than you have right now, but they had so few choices. So choices matter. You want to make sure that you're getting what you want, because in the current market we're in, you cannot be in your house for a year and think you're going to sell it and make more money, because we're not seeing home appreciation like that. We're not seeing home depreciation, but we're not seeing that rapid appreciation yet either. And that is something we need to talk about. I'm just briefly going to mention on this video, otherwise this video is going to get longer and longer. But we want to talk a little bit about realizing that when you buy a house in today's market, and we're just going to use a FHA loan, you pay 3.5% down, and you're there for 2 years, you've made very little payment towards your equity. So in 2 years, like if you, I'm just going to use 350. If you bought a house for 350, then there's a good chance that that house is going to be worth more than 350, but only if you kept the condition in the condition you bought it or made it better. But a lot of times I walk into houses and it went backwards. Now, how does that happen? You didn't take care of it. You didn't keep up with the maintenance. You know, things happen. I understand, but like, if you're going to move quickly, it's going to be really important that you hang on to that condition it was in when you bought it. So keep that in mind, because it's not fun when I have to come over and talk to you and be like, your numbers are so tight. Like, we had someone close the other day and they were really happy, but they got like $500 because they hadn't been in their house long enough to build up any equity. So I'm going to do a longer video on that later, but just know, buyers, if you're buying a house, I want you to plan on being in that house 3 to 5 years, because that's when you start really getting some equity. Longer's even better, but 3 to 5 years. All right, so let's think about potential sellers. If you're thinking, well, Jenny, I was really thinking about putting my house on the market, you know, like in October. Is that a good idea? Yeah. If you want to move and you need to move and you're willing to be patient, we had houses that closed in October, November, December, every month of the year. I'm very thankful to say that we had closings with our team, as well as the greater Cartersville, Bartow County market. So you just want to keep in mind, we're going to get really focused in on making sure that our price is the #1 house at that price point. And that's what causes it to go quicker than if you're number 10 in that list. So in summary, we're still in purgatory. We could see us coming out of it. There is so much talk about interest rates coming down. And for sellers, if interest rates come down, that means your houses will sell faster. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll sell for more, because what we're also still facing with is what we call debt to income ratios. The people have to qualify for the loan. So we would love to see interest rates like at 6.4. I mean, if they did 6%, I think it would really open up. But anything below 6.5 would be fantastic for sellers and for buyers too. Now, buyers, here's the thing, the caveat on that. Let's say they do go to 6.5. Home prices might not rise, but sellers might have more choices on offers, and they won't be willing to negotiate closing costs and repairs as much. Not to mention, you know, we're still under the new NAR settlement, where right now most sellers are willing to pay that 3% buyer agency fee for you as part of the negotiations. But if they start getting offers where people aren't asking for that, it could change. So just know there's like a sweet spot of those interest rates where if you move quickly before everybody goes and gets pre-approved, it could be really good for you. And then let's see if there was anything else. Oh, I do just want to say thank you one more time for those 250 reviews. Like, I think when we started working on reviews, we had probably gotten like 20 or 30 organically. And to cross over to 250 and be the most reviewed team agent in real estate in Bartow County, I mean, it really just thrills me. So thank you, and I'll see you next month.